Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History. Welcome to Sharon, Massachusetts. In this video, I would like to read you an article from Sharon Advocate about the lake management. It was written 23 years ago, and the person that was interviewed was Clifford Towner. That's his picture right here. I am just including short videos of the lake. They have nothing to do with exactly what I'm going to say. But I think there are so many interesting facts in this article that I really want to share it. So Lake Placid, close management returns Lake Massapoag to greatness. So this article was written by Peter Hartzell. It's unclear whether the town residents are aware of just how much progress has been made in cleaning up Lake Massapoag. One thing, however, it's clear: the lake itself. Just look at that. You'd have to go all the way to Maine to find water that clear, says Cliff Towner. Sharon's undisputed lake guru, standing on Memorial Park beach and peering into the water, gazing through gentle waves, past swaying sunfish down to easily visible pebbles and sand. Today we have a lake we should be proud of. Towner, chairman of the Lake Management Study Committee, knows it wasn't always this way. A wander at the same spot little more than a decade ago would have yielded vision of unsightly algae and foam. The lake was choked with weeds and often stunk of decaying algae, and animal waste was strewn along the beach. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Fish were dying by dozens, washing up and littering the shore. Beach closings were common. The state stopped stocking the lake with fish. Environmental reports issued by the state in 1984 and 1987 went so far as to predict that the lake would no longer be a recreational resource by 2000. Fast forward now. Hundreds of people from Sharon and beyond flock daily to Lake Massapoag for beach, boating, and fishing fun. The lake's 80s nadir seems like just a bad memory, and the idea of its elimination as a recreation resource unthinkable. Those familiar with the lake's remarkable turnaround say it's not serendipity that brought about such major changes in the health of the lake, but the step-by-step enactment of critical procedures and environmental protections. In 1969, based on the proposal by the Planning Board, the Lake Management Study Committee was founded as a standing committee by the town meeting and charged with managing and making recommendations for the treatment of the lake. By the early 1980s, the Lake Committee had lapsed into inactivity as the Department of Public Works, under the aegis of the Board of Selectmen, took over management of the lake. The decade that followed saw the massive deterioration of the lake, a trend that wasn't stemmed until the late 1980s, when the selectman Henry Katz recognized problems with existing procedures. Among the most egregious was use of chlorine to kill bacteria, and made moves to return control of the lake from the DPW to the Lake Committee and the Conservation Commission. In 1992, according to Towner, a whole new management plan was instituted, the cornerstone of which was and remains an order of conditions set forth by the Conservation Commission on how the lake would be managed. That order placed the town's conservation agent in charge with the day-to-day management of the lake and set the groundwork for the daily care and long-term planning the lake now enjoys. Equally important, the Lake Management Study Committee was reconstituted the following year with 6 new members, including Towner, who has been selected by the committee members each year since as the chairman. Now the lake receives daily care day and night, with careful attention paid and adjustments made to its flows, levels, and temperatures. Whereas water levels previously topped off at the dangerously high 11 feet 3 inches, the levels are now regulated by Towner and conservation agent Greg Meister using gate device inside the beach flume house to reach no higher than 10 feet 5 inches. The gate, designed by the Lake Committee and affectionately known as the Meester, is the first of its kind in the nation, Towner said. Also critical to improvements in the health of the lake, Towner said, have been the support of the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Board of Health in working to institute wetlands, setback, septic system regulations, and water protection districts. But, Towner added, the credit ultimately lies with the citizens of Sharon who have voted in support of all our environmental bylaws, because had they defeated all these bylaws, we'd probably be where we were in the 1980s and into the 1990s. One measure of the extent to which Massapoag has experienced a renaissance has been the renewed interest in the lake among state officials. The Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife now stocks the lake with trout and has taken several other steps to promote its health, including addition of fish attracting Christmas tree bundles to the lake floor to compensate for the relative lack of brush and rock piles. Rich Hartley, who has spearheaded some of these efforts as a fishing biologist with the State Division, said he plans to return to the lake this summer to install underwater cameras to see how the structures are holding up. There has been a comeback, Hartley said. Really, the success story has been what the Lake Committee has done. It has been a grassroots effort with a vested interest in the lake, with Cliff as the headmaster of it all. Obviously, that's been a good thing. The lake can hold trout, and those that can do that are few and far between. That puts it a level above most of your warm and cool water ponds in Massachusetts. Towner, a longtime Sharon resident who's used the lake since he was 6, is the lake's most tireless advocate and its biggest pitchman. I think the lake is the most used resource in Sharon, and it isn't just swimming, boating, and fishing, he said. The fire of his enthusiasm, hot enough to rival the burning embers of the cigarette that's almost always protruding from his mouth, inches below the Sharon fish and game cap he proudly wears. There's ice fishing and hockey in winter, and there's a good amount of passive recreation as well. It's a great place to wind down, to take a walk on the beach in the evening is a great mind exercise. As popular as the lake is today, Towner believes it is still somewhat dogged by the bad reputation earned from its period of neglect and mismanagement. It's time to get the word out that the lake is one of the healthiest and cleanest in the state, he said. The perception of the 1980s still carries on with a lot of people today, he said. There's a lot of children who could have a great recreational resource in their parents if their parents realized the changes, but we are still dealing with those perceptions. If I had one wish, I'd wish all the residents of Sharon would come down here, check out the lake. It's done 180. So this is the end. I also would like to point out that Clifford truly did tons of things for the lake, and we are really thankful to him for the condition the lake is in. It wasn't always easy, by the way, and I believe J.J. McGrath proposed to dedicate the Flume House, which is the little stone structure by the Rotary, that the Flume House should be dedicated to Clifford Towner. So if you walk by, you can have a look. There's a little plaque, and whenever you swim or enjoy the lake, please think about Clifford Towner and many other volunteers who were on the previous Lake Management Committee. That was, I think, called Lake Management Study Committee. And now we have a new committee that's very active. So thank you for watching Sharon Local History.